What's up, 423 listeners? Just want to make a quick announcement. We recorded this podcast episode and actually Thursday's podcast episode prior to the news that Aaron Rodgers has been officially medically cleared to play in Week 15. So, Aaron Rodgers is back. I am thrilled, obviously. Go Pack. Sorry, leaving the biases out of it. But Aaron Rodgers is back. Obviously, Jordy Nelson is going to shoot up the ranks. Devontae Adams, I think he stays about the same, about a wide receiver 2, maybe a low-end wide receiver 1. Jordy Nelson is going to go way up. He's actually usable again. He was just unusable there for a while. So we'll talk more on our Friday show. We talked a little bit in the Thursday show on the Packers, just in general with Aaron Rodgers back, so just make sure you tune into all those shows. We'll discuss that entire thing. So if you listen to these these next two episodes, just keep in mind the Aaron Rodgers news had not broken when we recorded them, so don't jump on us and be like, oh yeah, this already happened. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers is back, so enjoy the show. Welcome back, everybody, to the 423 Football Podcast. Today is going to be our Week 14 recap show. Most teams are in the playoffs at this point. Maybe your week started, or your playoffs started in Week 14. Maybe they started the next week. But Week 14, we're here to go through a little bit of news, give you some standouts from the week, some stock ups and stock downs, and some waiver wire ads that you could possibly target, and maybe some streamers towards the end. So it's just me today, Brandon Bouchard. So yeah, we'll get into it. Not really much news. I mean, there's some big news, but it's not overwhelming. So first things first, Carson Wentz suffered a torn ACL in Sunday's win over the Los Angeles Rams. Just heartbreaking to see. Carson Wentz was probably the clear-cut MVP at the moment when he went down. And honestly, in my opinion, we're this far into the season, Eagles wouldn't be here without him at this point. I'd probably still give Carson Wentz the MVP. He's been that good this year and that important to that team. But regardless, it's going to be Nick Foles from here on out. And he has been a very capable starting QB in the past. He's had a season of 27 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Also, he started a playoff game, so, I mean, experience once they get in the playoffs because they've already locked up a spot. So, I'm not as worried about the Eagles, and especially, that goes for just them in the playoffs and the players in fantasy as well. I'm not that worried about the Eagles, or as a lot of people are. Obviously, losing an MVP caliber player like Carson Wentz is, you might think that might be detrimental to the team, but as good as Carson Wentz has been playing, the rest of his team has been playing outstanding as well. They have one of the best defenses in the league, which I think that's one of the main reasons they have the record they do. They have a solid run game, great offensive line, and pretty good receivers that have been stepping up in a big way. And Nick Foles, he can sling it. He's not Carson Wentz, but Nick Foles, I believe, will be just fine for that team moving forward. Okay, Josh McCown is done for the year also after breaking his hand. They still don't know, definitively who's going to be the starting quarterback. It's either going to be Christian Hackenberg or Bryce Petty. It's just bad news all around for Jets. For those fantasy owners with Jets players on your team, most notably Robbie Anderson, because he was the most relevant Jet at the time. So, I don't know. You're obviously downgrading him, but if it is Bryce Petty, I do want to point out that when Robbie Anderson broke out last year or had his awakening, Bryce Petty was the quarterback. So maybe something there. If it's Petty, maybe a little bit more confidence in Robbie Anderson, but I don't know, still not a very good situation. Aaron Rodgers, still no word on him yet. whether he's going to play or not. 50-50 chance he plays in Week 15. He's got CT scans to go through. He's got about a jillion doctors looking at his collarbone and seeing if he is healthy or not. He's pushing to play. Obviously, he's a competitor. He's going to do that. But we're going to have to wait and see if he's out there for this week. Last thing, Jordan Reed has been placed on the injured reserve, so he's done for the year. It's sad to see. This seems to happen to Jordan Reed more often than not, him getting injured. And he's a phenomenal tight end. He just can't stay healthy. It's brutal. I don't really like Vernon Davis as a replacement. He hasn't done much the past couple weeks, maybe a touchdown here and there, but not the best replacement for Jordan Reed owners. Okay, standouts from Week 14. If I hadn't mentioned already, I'm going to try to make this episode as short as possible. I've had a lot going on this week, and I don't know. Brett and I will record, another podcast later today, and that'll be our Thursday show. So just breaking that down, a lot going on. So I'm going to try to make this one as short as possible. Standouts, Week 14. Quarterback position, Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler's my standout. 22 points in this game, 263 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns against the Patriots defense, who may have regressed back to their, early season self. I'm not really going to make that statement yet, because I still think they're well coached, and they're smart players, so I'm not going to really make any bold predictions there. But Jay Cutler, looking like the guy we thought was going to be the Dolphins' savior all along. So it might be a little too late for the Dolphins, but Jay Cutler looked fantastic out there. And he's got a decent matchup for this next week against the Bills. So maybe another chance for Jay Cutler, a possible streaming option. Two quarterback leagues, I have no problem starting Jay Cutler at all. Running backs. Jonathan Stewart, 3 touchdowns. 3. This is the worry I had all along with people drafting Christian McCaffrey, so early in their fantasy football drafts. Jonathan Stewart is still there, and it clearly showed in this game. 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards. He looked phenomenal, and we've seen him do this in the past, even with D'Angelo Williams when he was there. Jonathan Stewart got a ton of work. Props to the guy. I don't expect this that much going forward. They got the Packers this next week, and I think McCaffrey has a little bit better game than Stewart this next week. But I don't know. You gotta give it to the guy. Old man Jonathan Stewart still going strong out there. I got another running back standout, Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake he's the real deal. He looks like the real deal. He's always been known as the speed guy, but he looks like a hard-nosed runner too. He's got surprisingly good strength. He can bounce off defenders, and as I mentioned just a second ago, the speed is uncanny. Not many guys can run like him. Him and Tyreek Hill are almost on par with how fast and agile they are. They can just blow by people. But Kenyon Drake in this game, I already mentioned Jay Cutler, nearly 200 yards for Kenyon Drake. No touchdowns, but I'd much rather have a guy that goes out there and gets me 200 or close to 20 points in fantasy without a touchdown. And then the touchdowns, they can be kind of fluky, but you give me 200 yards without a touchdown, and then you give me that same with a touchdown, it's just a cherry on top. It's just a big old ice cream sundae with a cherry on top. I'll give you 2 more standouts at the running back position real quick. Jordan Howard, 147 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. Not the best performance from the Bengals side, so the Bears pretty much had their way with him. Jamal Williams, over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Browns. Jamal Williams seems to be the clear-cut guy in Green Bay at the moment. Obviously, Ty Montgomery's done for the year. Aaron Jones is slowly getting back into the work, but I still expect Jamal Williams to have the majority of the workload. And we'll have to see with Aaron Rodgers coming back how they disperse the running backs, because Aaron Jones might be a little bit better of a pass catcher, and they might use him a little more in that Aaron Rodgers offense. We'll just have to wait and see. Wide receiver standout. I'm going Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, 118 yards and a touchdown. He's been very, very admirable with Robert Woods out, and Jared Goff seems to love the guy. They have a connection. Cooper Kupp, I really like him moving forward. Also got Jarvis Landry, 2 touchdowns in this game. Man, a lot of Dolphins players. I'm putting Dolphins on the spot here. Hopefully they don't disappoint in the future. But Jarvis Landry, 2 touchdowns. I think he's up to 8 now, which I'm pretty sure doubles his career high. So Jarvis Landry, I mean, we've always loved him as a PPR guy, as a yardage guy, but you start giving him touchdowns, he's remarkable. And I really hope they learn to use him even when Cutler's gone, because I don't expect Cutler to be there that long. He might be gone after this year. Tannehill could come back, and they could be back to that old shenanigans again. But Jarvis Landry right now, you have to love what he's doing. Also want to mention Devontae Adams, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns, including the game winner, and, well, actually, first touchdown to send them into overtime, and then the game winner in overtime. So Devontae Adams really stepping up in a big way this year, especially with Aaron Rodgers out. And he is looking at a mighty fine payday come the offseason. Tight end, Trey Burton, another fill-in player, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. I believe Brent Selleck, Brent Selleck also had a touchdown in this game. So tight ends were going crazy before Carson Wentz's unfortunate injury. But obviously Zach Ertz was out. Trey Burton fills in, does a phenomenal job. Obviously, it might be we'll get into this in Thursday's show, but Zach Ertz, we'll have to see we have to see if he's going to be back. He's dealing with a concussion, and we're going to have to see what Nick Foles, how he seems to target tight ends. I might have to do some research on that and give you some stats, but as of now, it remains to be seen. It's a little scary starting players with a new quarterback. Okay, stock ups and stock downs, and then we'll do waiver wires, and then I'll close it out for you. Okay, stock ups. I got Kenyon Drake, as I mentioned before. I think he's here to stay. I think this is his breakout performance, really. As long as he can stay healthy and not give Damian Williams or anyone else an opportunity to step up in that offense and take his role, I think Kenyon Drake's going to run away with the job. I truly believe so. I tweeted the other day, I think he's going to be comparable to Chris Johnson next year, just the way he runs, his speed. He's got sneaky strength. So I love Kenyon Drake moving forward. And obviously, they're not missing Jay Ajayi whatsoever. One more stock up, D.D. Westbrook, slowly getting more and more involved in the offense. Him and Keelan Cole. I should pair them together. D.D. Westbrook and Keelan Cole. I like them as stock ups. The matchups have been pretty good, and Bortles has looked decent in the past couple games. So moving forward, I think D.D. Westbrook and Keelan Cole could be fine plays. They got Houston this next week, and I expect a pretty good game from both of them. Now, stock downs, Robbie Anderson, talked about him a little earlier. Josh McCown going out. Don't really know what the quarterback situation is going to be. So, Robbie Anderson, sorry. I love you, man. I think you're a phenomenal talent, but not really going to be looking to start you in the fantasy playoffs. And then one more stock down, Doug Martin. He actually got benched in this last game after fumbling. Peyton Barber was looking good once again. I expect Peyton Barber to get the majority of the workload. Doug Martin, I want to say welcome to Dumpsville, but I'm not quite there yet. We'll still have to see, because Doug Martin, he's still a great athlete, I believe, and I still think the Bucs want to use him. I don't know. Dirk Cutter seems to have a lot of beef with players on his team at the moment, Jameis and Doug in particular. Okay, waiver wire ads. Number 1, Aaron Rodgers. Still don't know if he's coming back, like I said, but Aaron Rodgers, if he's out there on your waiver wire, go grab him. I know he's less than 50% owned, I'm pretty sure, in NFL.com leagues, but Aaron Rodgers has to be owned. He can be a league winner at the moment. Rex Burkhead, he's still out there in 38% of leagues. Go grab Rex Burkhead. He's clearly the goal line back and the guy you want in that Patriots backfield. Mike Davis, Seattle's running back. I think they're finally giving one guy some carries. He's a big workhorse back, which is all they really need. They just need someone to every now and again give him some power. Giovanni Bernard, Joe Mixon's still dealing with a concussion. Don't know if he'll be back, but Gio, you got to look at him. Peyton Barber, as I mentioned before. Paul Richardson. I think he's one of the better lower-end receivers, maybe a flex option or a wide receiver 3 that you can have right now. And I'll just go through a few other guys that are still owned in less than 50% of leagues, shockingly. No idea how. But Marquise Lee, he's still out there. D.D. Westbrook, talked about him earlier. Mohamed Sanu, Tyler Lockett. Russell Wilson loves those deep balls. Marquise Goodwin, Jimmy Garoppolo is looking a little bit better, and Goodwin is the clear number 1 wide receiver on the team. And if you want a big boom-bust play, Marquise Goodwin I think is fine. Actually, I think his floor is kind of safe, so I wouldn't even say bust, but definitely capable of giving you a boom. And then James Conner, if you're looking for a handcuff, that's the best handcuff you can have. If there was any running back to go down in the league, Le'Veon Bell going down, and whoever steps up for that role is clearly jumping into an incredible situation. And then Jordy Nelson, got to mention him as well. I think people held on to him a little bit more than Aaron Rodgers, but Jordy's still out there, or I think he's out there in like 20 or 30% of leagues. So go grab him. If Aaron's back, then Jordy is arguably wide receiver a wide receiver 1, maybe a high-end wide receiver 2. Okay, that's going to be all for today. Like I said, it was going to be short. I'm recording this one early on Tuesday. Brett and I will be recording later tonight, so Tuesday night, and then we'll be recording on Thursday for our Friday show. So we're kind of all jumbled up this week. We usually spread it out a little bit better, have a better system than this. But like I said, it's been a hectic week. So we will be back on Thursday, tomorrow, for the Week 15 preview show. And then Friday, our KPT Ballers League of Records show. Okay. So make sure you go and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the423football. Make sure you like us on Facebook, subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Give us a like, leave your comments and reviews. Thanks for listening. We are the 423 Football Podcast.